Phase 3 of 3 for ZipForms with Stokes, Gramling.
Back to the vaulted documents. And we just got bumped out. And we're jumping back through this. Let's go in. And transaction listing residential. Okay. Let's go back. Okay. Now delete partners. Here we go. Now, let's do this one more time here. And we will go into the and so let's do this. This is from the help desk as to the details you would go through as I would start. You would choose the e-sign, and it would allow you to go through at this point and choose which document to send. Let's see. And e-sign, sign. At this point, it gives you the ability to go through and choose which document. Again, you can choose the all or the none and choose which documents you would need to send to your clients. Then these are the actual signers that are set up. You can choose who or when or which ones you would like to send to. What we're going to do is we're going to unselect all and then choose this one and this one. Now it's a little difficult to see on this. Let's move it over. That you can actually have it so that who signs first. It has a listing from top to bottom here, and you can actually add another party if you wish to send it to them as well. Now you can move them up, you can move them down so that who would sign first. Obviously you wouldn't want to witness signing before the person actually signed it, so it kind of gives you an idea of what to sign and how to sign. Here you would have your name, you would have your email address, and one thing that I failed to mention is when you look at the address book, it is good to add your information to the address book as well, because when you do that, then you have the ability to pull in your information automatically rather than having to write out AgentOwned Realty. Just click, and you have it. Your documents are ready to sign by clicking send. I agree that I have previewed the documents, blah, blah, blah. Now, what is this verify the identity. Well, each identity verification costs $5, $5.10, so that would be $10 should you choose that. That is an increased form of security. As I said, some banks do not accept the electronic signatures. They want a wet signature. These banks that people have run into and told me about are ones that are working with short sales. You're quite aware of the problems with short sales, and rather than increasing the problems, it's, I think, much easier to go ahead and give them what they want than to fight for something on the principle that this is a legally binding contract. So at this point, once you've got this all checked out and set, you would click on Continue to Zip Logic. Now let me put this back up here. And now I have no credits, so I can go in and get more credits. So at this point, I am at a standstill, so there is not anything more that I can do. Now I can go in and preview what I have. Now the nice thing about this preview is it sort of shows you what your recipient would see. Remember that if they've got a color printer, that's fine, as in the logo here. This is where they would sign, that you would have people sign. Enable, add related field, make optional. So that this is the field. Now, the different signers over here have different colors assigned to them, so that you can actually go in and create a place where the people will either sign or initial the information. So you can set this up. This is the person that would be responsible for that, their email, and then this would correspond with one of the people over here. Typically, it could be another party that you would add for that as well. These are all of the people that you have available. Notice that the selling agent and the seller are the two that are highlighted, because those are the only two that have to have this sent to them over the electronic email system, or electronic signature system, excuse me. So where it's green, where it's blue, I believe, would be where their signature would be required. It's not on here, so we're safe from this. Once you finish with this, you would say Save Changes, and you would go back to the system. At this point, you would send now, and because, again, the send now says I have no digital signature credit, so I would have nothing to send with this. Let me OK out of this. I'm going to cancel that. It's asking me to purchase more. And at this point, I'm going to close this down. I'm going to go to the help system. With the help here, this is the actual way to sign it, that you would go through much what I just went over. And then you would send now, and this will consume a ZipLogic digital signature credit. First time submission of this transaction. Would you like to continue and use your credit? Yes. So that will take you and go forth with that. Now, you have to remember that the person receiving this has to have the expertise to be able to sign it, fill it out, and get it back to you. So what they would receive would be an email, and they would click on the link in that email. When they click on it, they would go to this area where it would be a start button, and it would give them the ability to create their signature. Go and log in, start, click accept if you agree to the terms, and decline if you do not. The terms are such that this is a legal binding document, and that's what this read legal consent means. When you click on accept and then click next, it brings you to the ability to create your signature, excuse me, with a secure PIN number and the actual script that you wish your handwriting looked like, or maybe it does. For me, it would definitely be an improvement. Go on to view the signatures and sign. Then you would pull up the actual document by selecting it here. Then the document would come up, and you would go through and move from location to location. each signature field to sign. Once all the signature fields are signed, click on the Save All Signatures button here. By doing this, you don't just hit a sign all and it signs it automatically for you. The person would have to go through and see where that signature was going, just as they would in a hard copy document that they were holding in their hand. So they would have to go from location to location on the contract, either add the signature or the initials, click here to sign, and when they would click here to sign, then it would add their signature to that location. You would then click on the date to add the date there as well, which would be the current date based on the time that they have set for their computer. Then you come down to the agreement here. If you click yes and you have marked for signature all mandatory signature lines, you will complete the signature process. You will be bound by your signatures on all mandatory signature lines. Any optional signature lines you have chosen to sign, any text boxes you have written in, and any check mark boxes you have checked. You will not be able to change anything if you click yes. So you would select yes and move forward. Now this is not you, this would be the actual person that received it. At that point, you would go in and you could find you would have the ability to check to see what your system said, and notice that when I go to e-signature here, it has the ability to check the status. Once they signed it, you would be able to check the status and see where in that itinerary or that list of signatures it stood. In other words, how many of the people had both people signed it? Did you have 4 that you were waiting on and the first one has not yet signed it? So the check status would allow you to go through and check the status of that signature. Now again, if you're having trouble viewing this because you're working with it on a smaller device, you can go in here. This is much like the ones that we talked about over to the side here that would collapse or expand the information. Notice that here it gives you a better visual ability to see exactly what's here. Now how do you change from form to form? That's what you look at here, and this allows you to make the changes. So you bring up the form or the different form that's here to work through. This is I think a very good ability and a nice feature in the ZipForms. Now you can also have the ability to actually sign, and you do not have to have an iPad in order to have your form signed. What you do is you can have either an iPad, one of the Droids, you can have even a smartphone or iPhone that you would use your finger and make the signature on there for your client. So how do you do that? Well, you should have in the paper notes the address. Now the address is, let's see if I can pull up one of these. Here we go. And at this point, the address, instead of www, we're going to the mobile site. So we're going to go to m.zipformonline.com. And what that will do is that will give you the sign-in. Now, because I was testing this earlier, I already have signed in to, let's see, go to the mobile here. And when you go to the mobile, you see this to sign in. This should say use ZipForms credentials right here. If it does not, it may have one of these others. Typically, it should have use ZipForms credentials. Now, the thing about this is once you sign in, it asks you if you want to. It tells you that you will stay signed in until you log out. So when you log in, you're going to stay there. That means that after the first time you log in, when you bring up this address, you will automatically see your transactions like this. Now, let's go back, and I can barely see it over here. But you will notice that these are the transactions. And new transaction, let's see. Let's go back to the home. Here we go. Notice that these are my transactions on the desktop system, and these are the transactions that I would have on the mobile system. Typically, you would have the mobile, as I said, would be with a touch screen capabilities. Now, I did find that the nice thing about this is that you can do this with the mouse. It makes it a little jerkier with the signature. It does not give it the clarity that you would like. Let's go in and take this as the document that we're going to work with on our iPad or a mobile device. Now, here are the different forms that we've pulled up in this. Notice that the test 1, 2, 3, that is the name of the transaction. Now, what do? I can go here to signature and choose to sign. Now, if I've got documents that have been signed, I can view them, or I can go through and sign with the touch sign. When I do that, voila, here we go. Here are the options that I have. I can choose the options with a couple of different selections by either clicking on it, yes, clicking on here, and choosing which ones I choose to sign. Then I should have a next capability here. If you have an iPad or a touchscreen device, you will have that next here. Let's see what I can do to bring that, make that available for us. Addendum, that brings up the edit capabilities. And no, this had actually on the earlier demo brought up the capabilities to do a next here. Let's see what we can do on this one. And here we have the login. And remember, this is the same login that you have with ZipForms. And the password associated with this is the one you created. It is not your MLS password. It is the one that you have created yourself. Your identity will be remembered on this device until you click log out. As I said, that will take you out of it. Now let's go in and select this and do signature. Sign with touch sign. And you will notice that at this point, you can choose which ones you want to send for, you can choose which documents you want to have your client sign on your device. Now, if you've got a laptop that has a touch screen, it's very nice. If you've got a laptop that does not, you can use the cursor. Let me go to the address book and see who I want to sign here. Okay. Next, back. So that's set up. Let's do a touch sign. Here I agree to it. And so what I'm going to do is to go into this document, and when I click on the pen, it gives me the ability to sign here. Now notice what I sign. I can sign signature, I can sign initials, I can sign date, or I can add text. I can also go to a checkbox and put a check there. Now I can go in, and with the mouse I can actually use the mouse cursor and sign my signature. And notice that with this, the signature took up the entire space. Obviously that doesn't work well. So what you can do is go in and you can resize this, clear that up, and then you can go in and you can actually have a little bit better area to write. Now, if you're you have the touch screen. Your finger will actually do this. If you have a stylus that is much like a pen, that works even better. They have styluses that are available that actually have fine points on them. And here I am. Okay. This is not the best signature, but it is a signature. And I guarantee you that if you're using your finger, you can do better than this. Now, okay, I have the signature. Let's see. I want to select place. Now, get this out of the way. You will notice that I have stamped my signature here. Now, one thing about this is, that's a big signature. Let's go back, and what we can do now that we've had enough room to actually sign this, we can take it and we can go in and do a place. Now, drag to position and place. Okay, this one's done. And we were doing text. Let's go to signature. There's my signature. Where do I want to put it? Let's see. We will move into the contract area, which is off of the viewing screen that we have here. Take this up. Let's see. And we're going to just pretend right now that we need to put it here. So what I'm going to do is to go in and size it down so that it will fit on the line and look a little bit more appropriate. Take the signature and do a select and place. Now you will notice that here's my signature. If I put it in the wrong place, I do have the ability to go through and exit out. Let's see. Do you want to delete the signature? Yes, I want to delete it. It was in the wrong place. So you do have the capabilities of doing this. If the person doesn't like the signature, they can create a different one. But you can take that same signature and place it in all of your documents. You saw how I could change from one document to another to work through the system. The zoom out, zoom in gives you a better perspective of what's there, and you can drag and work through the system. This is something that I think is very easy and very convenient for you and for your usage. Now, one of the things to remember is that, or actually two things to remember. One is the help desk capabilities that you have when you go into the area like this to actually go in and do a number of things to, regardless of what the area might be, you can find a number of different areas available here. The transactions, ZipForms, ZipVault, knowledge base. Again, you can go in and search if you're not sure of what you want to do. The other thing is that on the actual handout, there is the, let me bring this over. ZipForm Online Help Desk is open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and this is the phone number, 586-840-0140, and they will be glad to help you. You can always give me a call as well. It's Stokes is at 843-709-2010, and my email address is stokes@agentownedrealty.com. So you can give me a call, you can send me an email about questions. If you need me to reset your password, I can do that. I cannot see your password, but I can reset it. By resetting it, I will wipe it out, and at that point you would go and log in with your email address as the login name, but no password. You would then be requested to enter and create a password and then to confirm the password, since you would not be able to see exactly what you were writing, but you would have those blank dots as space holders. If there are any questions, thank you very much and have a blessed day. This is Stokes.